Welcome to the Edge of NFT podcast with your hosts, Jeff Kelly, Ethan Janney, and Josh Krieger. We aim to bring you not only the top 1% of what's going on with NFTs today, but what will stand the test of time. We explore the nuts and bolts and the business side, but also the human element of how NFTs are changing the way we interact with the things that we love. This podcast is for the futurists and dreamers, the disruptors and creators, the fans and connectors, and the makers and doers that are pumped about this ecosystem and driving where it goes next.
All right, and our next session here, live from DCentral, is with Tor Bair from Secret. I'm really excited to talk to him about what they're up to, but I'll let him take it over and just give an intro of himself and what they're doing at Secret.
Yeah, so I'm Tor. I'm the founder of Secret Foundation. It's one of the entities that supports Secret Network alongside many, many others. Recently, we've been collaborating with Secret Labs. They're the core devs of the protocol, and working with some major creators like Quentin Tarantino to bring their NFTs to our chain to use privacy-enabled technologies to build the future of NFTs. It's super crazy how fast the space is evolving in this regard. We've been at it for about 4 or 5 years, but it's never felt like it's moved as fast as this.
Yeah, totally. Totally appreciate that statement about how fast it's moving. I think that's why folks like us are in it. We like that. We like living on the edge of things. We call our podcast the Edge of NFT for a reason. But let me step back just a minute and just get a little bit into the evolution of your involvement in NFTs and blockchain. Like what brought you to Secret Network and what gets you amped about this specific project?
I started taking blockchain pretty seriously as a technology in around 2015, and I was already watching Bitcoin, not really investing in Bitcoin before that, but before that, it was just like you said, you like when things move fast, you like when they're crazy, you like when there's volatility and chaos. I was an options trader. I loved volatility and chaos, and Bitcoin was that. But I didn't understand the tech behind it until I got to grad school. And I did my business degree at MIT, and at the time, MIT is where all of the research was being done on blockchain, where the core developers for Bitcoin were being housed. So I was right place, right time to really start to appreciate it. I came in at more from I also have an artistic background. I'm a musician. So I came at it from a perspective of what else can blockchain do? Okay, it can move money. It can be really volatile. What else could it do? And I wrote some of my independent study work on digital rights management with blockchain. And I ran into an issue pretty quickly with the underlying technology, which is there's absolutely no privacy for any of this. Yeah. It's great for moving royalties around, provability, authentication, not really great for protecting any of the data that would be involved in any of that process. And it happened to be the exact same time that a researcher at the MIT Media Lab called Guy Ziskin was writing these foundational papers about privacy in blockchain and how they could be combined to create these decentralized computing platforms with privacy for the users. Right. And things kind of went from there. He started this company, Enigma. I joined as the head of growth afterwards in 2017. And, it's been a very long journey from that company to where the entire ecosystem stands today. But now we're a fully decentralized ecosystem of independent companies and developers and applications building on top of it. Everything is privacy. Everything is private by default, protecting users, protecting data. The side that I care about the most goes back to that research that I was doing in grad school. How can we use this to make lives better for artists, get them paid, get them protected, build direct relationships between creators, collectors, consumers. If we can solve that with Web3, that's potentially even more meaningful than the financial revolution that we've already been seeing in Web3. The cultural revolution that's happening in Web3 is what has gotten me crazy excited over the last 12 months, and I think has changed a lot of people's minds about what this is going to mean at the end of the day, not just as a speculative asset class, but something that just redefines how we create, how we collect and consume, and what is the future of that connection, and what is it going to mean for each of us individually?
Beautiful, man. Everything you said, I've got so many things I could dig into. I love it all. Where should I go from here? Well, first of all, the Media Lab, I was going to ask, as you were mentioning being MIT, I've always really loved the Media Lab over there. And if I could go and live multiple lives, I would also spend some time doing some work there, because I visited there just to kind of like walk around and be like, oh, this place is so cool.
Yeah, if you haven't been, it's like the kind of place where they just like hang crazy art on the walls that's also science, and like here's a new type of like animal skin we developed as a synthetic, right. And also it's waterproof, and it's just the weirdest stuff. Yes. I like was cutting my accounting classes so that I could go sit in the lobby and just absorb some of what was happening, and it's crazy to see the bleeding edge of the bleeding edge and how long it takes to become reality. Like you always know when you're one cycle too early. Yeah. But there's so much stuff that's come out of there that now is finally like right on time, and a lot of that's going to end up in the metaverse. It's going to be nuts.
Yeah, it's fascinating stuff. The other piece I wanted to bring in is, you mentioned kind of how this all is exploding for creators. And again, I keep saying, like, I've been waiting for the creator economy. I mean, we have a creator economy, but it's been talked about for many years. And who would have known that it's that NFTs that are really unlocking this economy of creators? It's really the next level.
Well, NFT is like this shorthand word that I feel like has now, it was the word of the year I just found out last week. Like, what the heck? It's not even a word. It's an acronym for two words, one of which is hyphenated. So I'm blown away by like how quickly this has entered the cultural consciousness, but it's become a shorthand for the new creator economy.
Yes.
And I still don't think people understand what it actually means for creators with NFTs, or what it means for collectors, or whether they're going to hold their value. And I would rather people say creator economy so that we don't skip past the hard questions of what is it going to take to make these NFTs retain their value, to keep these new communities together. If we just say NFT and kind of hand wave it away, and it's like, oh, NFT, that means a creator economy. A lot of aspects of NFTs are not actually creator friendly and don't protect their rights, and they actually give quite a bit away issuing NFTs that aren't secret, issuing on like these public by default chains.
Right.
I think what we're trying to do is restore the power and sustainability of like a Web3 creator economy to the concept of NFTs. But we shouldn't take for granted that just because we've invented the concept of a non-fungible token, that a creator economy that's sustainable will emerge versus another platform economy that's going to have slightly different winners.
Yeah. And another piece of what you talked about, and of course a main theme of what you're talking about, is this privacy. Just a couple hours ago, got an opportunity to talk to Brittany Kaiser, right? And she's just like a champion of just, everything doesn't have to be private, but just really understanding your data and what parts of it should be private, what parts of it isn't, and what, how can you give your consent for these things? Just have awareness around it. Yeah.
Fun fact, we're also high school classmates.
Are you serious? Wow, that's hilarious.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I don't think we took a class about this. It's just funny to see how like these parallel worlds are converging for a lot of people. I have a ton of respect for her mission, and The Great Hack was an incredible movie, just sort of documenting how hard it is to just reveal the truth of what's happened in Web 2. But if you don't know the truth, how can you fix it in Web 3?
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the present for Secret and what's going on with you guys now. Tell me a little bit about what you're excited about in the moment, or what's going on.
Yeah, so to explain like what all of this has to do with NFTs, right? So Secret is its own blockchain. It's not necessarily a separate universe. It's just a simultaneous universe with all these other blockchains. But every other blockchain is public by default. We do private by default. The data is encrypted, only accessible by the owner of the wallet, unless they choose to share that data, reveal that data. What this means for NFTs is NFTs that get issued on Secret Network have unique properties. They can either have public or private ownership. You don't have to reveal your ownership of any particular NFT. And if you do, you're not revealing simultaneously your ownership of every single NFT that you own or ever will own.
Right, which you could do right now. It's like if somebody buys an NFT, like they bought an NFT, what else did they buy? Because they have their wallet address now.
And then you just tweet at them. You're just like, I can't believe you also own this thing. I thought you had taste, man. It's like, it is a little bizarre because it doesn't work like that in the real world. The other thing that doesn't work like that in the real world is this whole idea of the metadata of the NFT. So a secret NFT, you can have either public metadata or private metadata or both. And a simple way to understand that is to say, okay, you could put like a watermarked image in the public metadata. Now everybody can see your watermarked low quality ape. But in the private metadata is the super 8K version of your ape, and only you have access to the high quality version. If you want to display it somewhere, if you want to share it somewhere, people know that you were the only one who was able to do that because only you have access to the actual high quality content. And like that trivial use case of public-private metadata pairs is one way that we're trying to just kill the whole right-click save thing forever. Like it's such a shallow and silly argument. And yet there is still a little bit of truth to saying what is ownership in the NFT economy if everything is public to everybody? What is the sense of control that you get as a collector? And what's the sense of control that you get as an artist after you put your art out there in an NFT if it's going to be public to everybody who even just glances at the blockchain, right? Not just like who interacts with a platform, but just it's on chain forever. For everybody. So that's what we're trying to solve with it. So what's next is just going crazy with the use cases. I mean, we see this as a huge revolution in the utility of NFTs. So a lot of the use cases just evolve around what can creators do with it? What can IP owners do with this? What can individual users, PFP communities, like people can do crazy stuff with private metadata. How do we help them? How do we help them become sustainable in whatever they're trying to build? There's always that huge link between privacy and sustainability. And for NFTs, sustainability is going to be everything for artists. They if this is going to be a new asset class for them, a new way of living, a new way of connecting with an audience, they should be able to do it for longer than 6 weeks. So we really want to make sure they can do it for the next 6 decades.
Yeah, that's a very useful space to tackle there. And the last time you and I saw each other, I think, was NFT NYC. We were all super excited. Quentin Tarantino is going to be doing this really cool NFT project. It brought all this energy into the space of kind of feeling that it's going more mainstream. And at the same time, like I had another conversation with someone that week of like, they're making NFT the movie and thinking that it might go to Sundance. But at the beginning of the year, I would have been like, they're making NFT. Well, I'm sure it's going to be cool, but I don't know if it's going to get into Sundance. Is Sundance going to care? So it's really interesting to see how quickly, as we said, this thing is moving and momentum is getting into the mainstream. And so anyways, all that to say, that was very exciting. And then, we've seen these news come out about the sort of legal conflicts around this. Can you speak a little bit about, we understanding what's going on and what?
Well, I can give the background to people who aren't familiar. So one of the amazing use cases for creators, like I said, with the private metadata is to put a secret in the private metadata that you only want the owner to be able to see. So the idea was that Quentin Tarantino had was to put original handwritten scripts, never before seen, put them in the private metadata of the NFT, add his own audio commentary, sharing never before known secrets about like the production of those scripts, the process of writing, like just these amazing collector's items effectively that would never otherwise be shared if it weren't for having a secret NFT standard that would allow it to exit his house and enter the public consciousness, but not for everyone, for the people who actually purchase this NFT and form that direct connection with Quentin. It's not the sort of thing where if you highly, highly value that content, as a creator, you highly value your own content, especially if it's that personal to you. You want to share it with an audience, but only the audience that you select or that self-selects by telling you that they value it just as much as you. That was the whole vision behind it. And of course, we had all these events in NYC with people coming and like saying how incredible this was going to be for the space, how defining it was going to be for creators. And then, as you were saying, sort of what happened was that it turned into a potential legal battle. Who actually owns the rights to make an NFT of a script that was written decades before a concept of an NFT even existed? What does it mean as a creator? Like, do you actually own the right to your own words? And I think now it's turned into this very sort of like landmark case that should be on everybody's consciousness if they're touching the NFT space, because it could have dramatic implications for really anybody who decides to build or any creator thinking of stepping into the space, because it meant two things. One, it meant that creators were going to have to fight for their right to exist in a space that was actually a creator economy, that was actually going to empower them and actually let them take power in their own creations. And it also meant that, very obviously, legacy institutions saw tremendous value in NFTs. You don't start legal suits for things where you're like, this is frivolous, this is time wasting, this isn't valuable. You go after things that you think are materially going to make a shift in how your business model actually works, or at least, that's the claim that you're going to make. And I think what people are starting to realize is that this is threatening Not just from like this case in particular, this perspective, but the whole metaverse is
Right.
threatening. It threatens traditional businesses, business models, etc., because it's threatening middlemen, it's threatening the intermediaries. And the whole point was to let artists and creators, and then subsequently the collectors and the users, like capture more of that value. How can that be done? And blockchain technology, especially like with privacy added, that's supposed to be an answer. What now we're starting to worry about is how hard are they going to fight? And the question we have to answer as creators and builders is how hard are we going to fight back to try to make sure that these rights are protected, that we iterate. And I think the more creators who take this kind of power in their own creations and fight and build, especially on a platform like Secret where we can protect your work. I remember the CoinDesk coverage of the lawsuit, and they said Miramax is suing Quentin Tarantino over the secret contents of an NFT, which Miramax has never seen. And I thought that was like a really apt summary. It's like, but that's kind of the claim that's being made. So without saying, you know, the merits of anything, right? I'm not really able to comment either way, obviously.
Sure.
But I mean, we should all be paying attention to how this is going to proceed. And as far as I'm aware, Quentin Tarantino has no intention of slowing down.
Yeah, and I had a question I might as well ask you. I don't even, you know, you maybe only be involved in this content, but I feel like in the talk that he gave at NFT NYC, he may have actually indicated that there might have been a contract that's actually going to run out on several pieces of content where maybe this won't be an issue. I don't know. Does that seem like that's going to be the case, or there's still going to be these kind of fights to maybe have?
The bigger question is what's going to happen in future contracts, because right now creators, you know, they have somewhat of a sense of what IP rights they have and what they don't, and a lot of those historically have not involved NFTs at all because they didn't exist. Why would you ever make an explicit provision in any kind of contract about an NFT if it's not even a concept?
Right.
Once it's word of the year, every single artist contract is going to involve NFTs in some sense, and who's going to fight for those rights and who's going to have the leverage in those relationships if whoever's, you know, trying to make a contract with the artist or their management somehow slips in a clause that says, oh, by the way, all future derivatives of this work that are, you know, as available as non-fungible tokens on any platform, we will own all IP rights to anything that you do, even if it's photographs of your own work in your own hand. Like,
right, they're going to add these specifications.
What happens next is what concerns me, because like now it's on everybody's radar. All the lawyers on every side are going to kind of know. So that's why I say it's sort of like a landmark battle, not because of what this means for all the contracts we signed 20 years ago. What's it going to mean for all the contracts that artists are signing right now? And are we going to be so uninformed as artists that we're going to sign away those rights unknowingly? Because you better believe now that the legacy institutions, all of these companies, are very well informed about what NFTs could mean for their business and what it could mean for artists. And if people aren't prepared to fight, then they're going to give something away that they didn't even know they were losing.
Right. And the legalese, I think, you know, before, right, has been, you know, we have the rights to this in all media, in perpetuity, in all universes, and, you know, and they just try their best to specify what it's going to be, you know. And so now we're getting into the specifics. This is very fascinating, and I think that's a great point that we need to fight as creators, you know, for what we believe is right and really what can support the creation that happens, right? What we don't want to do is develop a system where creativity is stifled, because you're moving into the creator economy, like we said. Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is, it really doesn't matter who's issuing a secret NFT. It's a better way of protecting the rights. And if there is an organization, for example, like a car company or a sports team, and they have all the rights to their own likenesses and everything else, like a secret NFT is still a better solution for them too. Like, we're not a way for anybody to make an end run around an IP agreement. Like, we believe that creators should have their own rights, but we're, you know, also trying to say that, like, we're not here to arbitrate how people are going to choose to sign their own contracts. Like, if people want to create a business relationship in that regard and they get some other value in giving away that right, whoever has that right is still going to benefit more from issuing it as a secret NFT, having that content protected and sharing it directly with an audience. You know, I just personally believe that audiences are going to much rather own an NFT that came directly from an individual creator than from, some faceless organization that's shoving derivatives of existing work down their throat, being told that this is going to be valuable because there'll be a market for it or because it represents something that they might remember from childhood. It's very different when your favorite creator in any field is telling you, I value this so highly that I'm only going to share it with you. And this is going to be our secret together.
Very cool. All right. Well, I think that's a great note to end on. I have many more questions and things to talk about. But we only have so much time. It's been really a blast chatting with you. Let's make sure we give like socials or websites. Where can people go to find out more?
Yeah, you should go to at Secret Network on Twitter. And if you want to follow the Tarantino project, it's at Tarantino NFTs. You can also just generally stay informed about where the ecosystem is heading with secret NFTs. If you join our Discord, there's links out to some of the other NFT-specific Discords. There's literally a PFP project, I think, launching every couple days now on Secret because the word has kind of gotten out about like how cool this can be just even for Web3 creators. So if you want to catch a future drop, definitely get in the Discord so you don't miss out on that. But I think things are going to, as we said at the very beginning, right, they're only going to get faster. And if you believe that privacy is essential to the future of NFTs, the best place you can be when things are going fast is right at the beginning. And that's definitely where we are now.
Beautiful. Well, I think that's a wrap. Thanks so much for sitting here for this excellent conversation.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
All right, on to our next session. This one features Jason Brink, president of blockchain at Gala Games. And first, we'll hit things off and let you give a little bit of intro of yourself and Gala, and then we'll dive into some questions.
Sure. Well, as you said, Jason Brink, president of blockchain at Gala Games. Most people know me as Bitbender in the space. It's my little moniker, as you will. I've been in the blockchain space since about 2013, 2014. Originally entered through the context of working to fix some of the problems in foreign aid. I did some disaster relief work in Haiti and Peru and places like that. And saw some very significant problems that I felt could be fixed by blockchain. So I put together some proposed solutions, wrote a paper on it. I entered that into a call for papers randomly, ended up getting an award from the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Global Development Network for that. And that kind of started me in the space. And that was in 2014 that happened. And what I found, though, is as time went on, that it was NGOs and governments and the type of people who do foreign aid don't move quickly enough to actually implement any of these technological solutions. I mean, if you work with an NGO or a charity and you would like to donate crypto to them, like, good luck. Right. It's a nightmare. And so what I found is that gaming presented a much more interesting way to cause positive change in the lives of people around the world, specifically play-to-earn gaming based on NFTs and tokenomics and things like that. And so that's why I joined Gala Games. Gala Games was founded by Eric Schiermeier, one of the founders of Zynga. So he has like deep game DNA. And most of our C-suite come from the gaming industry. So, former head of mobile products from EA is our president of games. And we have a bunch of other people at every level who've come over from traditional gaming because they see blockchain and NFTs as the inevitable future of gaming.
Yeah, It seems like it. We talk about it all the time. Like, happening under our feet right now is that convergence, right?
Yes, you can hear it.
Yeah, it's getting massive, man. It's coming, and the pace of the evolution of the space is
massive, insanely fast.
Right, it's crazy.
I was talking to one of our managers the other day, and he recently joined from, I forget which gaming company it was, but it was one of the big gaming companies. He just recently came over. And he says that after just a month of working with us, there is no way that he could ever return to a conventional gaming company or one of the bigger tech companies because they're so slow. We work at 10 times the speed of anybody else, which is why we're rocketing out of nowhere. Nobody, a year ago we were fairly unknown, and now we're, people are seeing, oh, holy crap, they're actually doing stuff. Shipping real product, real games.
Yes.
And that's critical.
It's one of the things we talk about, like coming out of like the 2017-18 cycle. A lot of value creation, right? Like theoretical value creation was happening. Right?
Theoretical.
Big
theoretical
important phrase to use.
Yes.
But this time around, we're seeing true value creation.
Yeah.
Real product shipping, real revenue being created, 0 to 100 million in 6 months. Like that's never been done before, man. That's insane, and it's. I think it shows the continuing evolution and maturity in the space when you can actually create that value and capture some of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So cool to see that stuff. But so at Gala Games, like what's popping in the blockchain space like right now? What do you guys have going on? What should people get excited about?
That's a lot. That's a lot. This would be a much easier interview if you had asked me in 2 weeks.
Oh,
Because I have a list of things as long as my arm that are embargoed that I can't talk about yet.
Oh man,
So I can
we
tell
can
you.
release it in 2 weeks if it really, if you'd like to.
We
So,
can twist
definitely
arms
can.
too.
It could
And
twist
that
arms.
changes
I don't know.
the length
I don't know.
in some
I don't know.
ways, yeah.
The gentleman here might have a problem with the arm twisting.
Nice.
But there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Sorry.
That's cool.
You're good, brother.
Right now we have one game that is a live service playable that is already play to earn. That's Townstar. We have Spider Tanks, which will be switching over. Right now it's in a beta that anyone with NFTs can jump in and play, and that will be switching over to play to earn in Q1 of next year. We've got, other than that, 3 or 4 more games that we have announced. We have another couple coming to a node governance vote here before too terribly long. And we have a massive pile of stuff in the pipeline coming right now. We've got about 15 other games. And these are real games. I mean, I think one of the things that I'd like to drive home for a moment, if I may stand on a little tiny soapbox, is we're not a blockchain gaming company. We're a gaming company that makes games that uses blockchain as an integral part of the tech stack. This is a very, very big distinction. It doesn't seem like it should be, but it really, really is. And what that means, where the rubber meets the road, is that prior to us ever talking about a token, ever releasing a token, ever spinning up the node network, anything like that, we had a live service game that people could already play. There was never a white paper of we'd really like to build this thing and someone please buy tokens. We've never had an ICO. We never have done anything like that. We're approaching this from an entirely different paradigm, and I think it makes a really, really big difference.
Yeah, agreed.
And in that case, what does it take in terms of building those games before doing token launches, right? I mean, you've got to bring investors on board. Is that just how it goes? Or
no, we entirely self-funded.
Okay.
Entirely self-funded. We have never taken a cent of VC money. We do not have investors that we have to, we're not beholden to anybody. And this is super, super important. I mean, in this industry, you hear so-and-so has raised $200 million. So-and-so has raised $300 million. And the only thing that I hear when the people say that is, gosh, that is so sad. Because what they've done with that raise is they have ceded control. They're no longer free to act in the best interest of the games or the gamers. They are now required by fiduciary responsibility to act in best interest of their investors, who are not gamers. VC funds do not write $300 million checks because they like games. VCs write $300 million checks because they like money. And that's a big, big, big difference there.
Yeah, we've been there with a venture-backed company previously, and it is interesting how those incentives misalign sometimes.
Oh, they can. I'm not gonna throw all VCs under the bus or anything like that, but it does create a misalignment that is damaging, I feel.
So let's talk alignment.
Yeah, let's do it.
Collaboration, community, it's the center of everything that's happening here in so many different ways. Obviously, there's your underlying community and everything that they mean to what you're doing. How do you see yourself in terms of collaboration in the space with other gaming companies?
We love connecting.
Interoperability, all those fun things that are possible.
We love connecting with other companies. Talking about community a tiny bit first.
Yeah.
We have what is I feel the best Discord on the internet. People can join at galagames.chat. It's quite large at this point in time. I think we just went over 100,000 members here not that long ago. And it is the most uplifting, positive, fun Discord that you have ever experienced. Most of the time you go into these Discords and it's like this sad, toxic soup of like, when moon, why number not go up, angry. But we carefully keep that fairly curated. We have a massive team of community moderators, and it's a very wonderful Discord to hang out in. And we have done probably about a third of our hiring from our community.
Interesting. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, we've heard that.
Yeah.
And so like some of our lead developers are people that were 8 months ago dropping into the Discord like, hey, what's this?
Yeah.
I just bought this NFT. I want to learn more about it. And now they're integral members of our actual company, which is cool. But to answer your question more broadly, connecting with the rest of the space, partnerships, collaborations, we love stuff like that. I mean, this is one of the most open and collaborative spaces that there is. And the nature of the blockchain and the fact that, you put something out on a blockchain, anybody in the world can use a block explorer to look at, see what tokens exist, who has those tokens, and then can do interesting things based on them. I mean, one of the examples that I talk about, we haven't actually done this yet, but we totally could, is, for example, say that everybody who has a CryptoKitty gets a cat that they can place inside of Townstar. Okay? And then if you have a cat in Townstar, it walks around and meows and is cute. Right. And we can totally do that, and nobody can stop us from doing that. Mm-hmm. And anybody can give additional utility to any NFT they want in exactly this way. You just index it, build it into a game, and you're off to the races.
Right. Yes. Right. Yeah, this fascinating functionality. Like you said, it's like a permissionless, of course, if there's copyrighted material or IP, you can't copy it exactly, but what you can do is offer permission. Hey, sure. You own something, then you're in.
That's exactly true. I mean, this is one of the things that we've done with the Vox drop. I don't know if you guys have seen Vox.
Yes.
When you get your Vox, you get a little FBX file, okay, that you can download and you can use. You can upload it to any voxel-based world that you want and, wander around and do stuff with it. We're working with a few different, I don't know if you guys are familiar with GamerJibe. They're this really, really cool, I'm totally plugging them here. Yeah. They're this really, really cool online environment for like conferences. It is the only online environment I have ever experienced that replicates the actual insanity of a conference, where you can like walk around and talk to people, and they have proximity based audio, so you can just like actually be having a conversation with people just like you would in a conference hall. It's super neat. But one of the things that they're working on is actually making it so that you can connect your wallet and then use your Vox to walk around in the world. So you can have your unique, one of 8,888 unique programmatically generated characters that can be you. It's it's something that's super cool. I love that connectivity and that ability to create broader industry alignment.
Yeah, it's funny. It reminds me of if you go in like Latin America or some other countries in Europe, you have these like carnival atmosphere, right? Where it's like they choose one day or 1 week a year where everybody puts on a mask, and like gets to play around with their identity and do something fun.
Well, that's the entire space right now.
Yeah, it's really fascinating. It's a very essential human urge to want to at least have some moments to do that, and it's interesting to put that into a conference space and like maybe move in and out of it. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about NFTs specifically involving Gala Games. Like, what kind of NFTs do we have there?
Well, each game that exists on our platform has NFTs associated with it. The type of NFTs are entirely dependent on what the requirements of the game are. For example, in Townstar, you have ERC 1155 fungible tokens that you can use in game. You place them, for example, like a fountain might, water crops more, or a specific type of storage might make it easier for you to build a particular type of game loop based on whatever the product is that you're storing. Townstar, by the way, was created by Michael McCarthy, the game director for Farmville 2. Okay, so again, knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely a very deep game. And it looks cute. But it will break you. Like, it will absolutely destroy you when you try playing it. But once you figure it out, it's super rewarding.
Yeah.
And you can actually place your Vox in it and earn. So any NFT that you're placing in there that you're playing with earns you town. Anyway, that was a total departure. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Where were we even going?
The question I was asking, so the integration of NFTs within the
Oh yeah, that's right.
specifically, yeah.
I was on track.
you're
I was on
right.
track.
You're
I just
good.
forgot the next one. And then you take a game like Spider Tanks, okay, which if you guys have seen our booth, you've played, or a lot of you online have tried it out right now. It's in beta. The NFTs in there are the tanks themselves, the turrets, the various bodies, the weapons, the skins, all of that is an NFT. And so if you own those, okay, those are actually, we're getting ready to stand up a new contract quite soon. We'll be bridging all of those over, and those will actually all be the equivalent of ERC 721s. And you'll have the ability to upgrade those as you go forward. So the more that you play, the more that your NFT can potentially become worth, which is a really cool concept. So it really depends on the specific game. Mirandus has land deeds and exemplars and things
And are
like
these
that.
being traded like we
Yes.
see? Yes, they are. And
Massively. Mirandus so right now, well, as of like 12 hours ago, I don't like sit on my phone and look at these things, but as of 12 hours ago, Vox was like the number 6 most traded project on OpenSea, and Mirandus was Mirandus was like the number 20th or something like that. So, they're quite actively traded.
Yeah, they're moving.
So we always like to get a perspective from folks about what's coming next. We know it takes a little bit of imagination, and we don't guarantee you have the vision. But what kind of things are you excited about moving forward? Both inside and outside of Gala Games.
I am looking forward to the first real AAA NFT gaming experience.
Yeah, we've heard that before. Yeah.
I'm very much looking forward to that. It's going to be very, very interesting when that comes along. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how play to earn, this is a broader industry thing, how play to earn begins changing sort of the economic flow of really everything. I mean, people, for the longest time, we've all been told that, you have to go to an office, right? You have to put on a suit and, sit at a desk and click buttons, right? Or you have to go to a factory and you have to, run a press or something like that. Well, everyone knows now that factory jobs are being automated out of existence. Like, it's just cheaper to get robots to do stuff than it is to pay people to do them. And 2 years of a pandemic have shown us all that you can get your work done wearing a button-down shirt and sweatpants, on your couch. And this whole office concept is an artificial construct. Yeah. And so with these two realities, the concept of work is changing. And so what we're going to see going forward into the future is we're going to see a tremendous increase in play to earn and types of ecosystems like that, where work itself gets redefined. And it's no longer, what's your job? Okay? Because how many people have a job that is like almost useless? Right?
Yeah.
Like how many people just like go there and they're like, oh God, I hope deadlines out there. I don't want to do anything. My God. Work now is going to go away from like, what is your job, to what is the value you're creating. What are you bringing to the world and to the economy? And in play to earn gaming, that's super clear. You are bringing a service that other players want. That other people in a broader ecosystem are interested in. Whether you're, grinding to get some particular thing that you're selling on the market, or you're, questing to do whatever it is that you need to do, or fighting in spider tanks, or building the perfect farm. The way that we work is changing, and I think that play to earn is going to be a big part of that future.
Fun is a big part of that, right? It's
absolutely, man. It's got to be fun. If it's not fun, you did it wrong. Do it again.
Exactly.
Try again.
And on that front, we talked a little bit about roadmap earlier. I know there's a lot you can't speak about yet. Anything in way of partnerships or collaborations that you can mention?
So we partner and collaborate with a lot of different entities and organizations. In terms of specific partnerships that are related to game development, we've got a lot of stuff that's coming up, but I can't quite go into it just right now.
Okay. Yeah, just give like the first letter or two, or three.
First letter, 2 or 3, whatever. Yeah, just
play Hangman or something.
Yeah. We could do that. We could do that. And then in terms of ecosystems, we're working a lot to build out our ecosystem connections in a lot of different countries. We recently announced. This is actually something I mentioned in passing on Twitter, and I think a lot of people missed it. Okay. We're allocating $1 billion of funding to game development in South Korea.
Oh.
And it's with a B.
Yeah.
And we are also, I would also like to point out that that's for South Korea. Yeah. And there are a lot of other countries in the world. So we're actively looking to make connections and to build partnerships with people and game developers around the world. We would like, over the next few years, for Gala Games to essentially become blockchain Steam.
Yeah.
And I think that we have the ability, we have the wherewithal, the technical capacity, and the team to make that happen.
I'll tell you, the social economic implications of that are tremendous.
Staggering.
World-changing.
Absolutely. And that's what it's about, man. I mean, I started all of this, because I got sick and tired. And when I say I started getting involved in blockchain. I did not found Gala Games. That's Eric. I don't want to claim that one. But I started pushing in this direction because I got sick and tired of watching people die of starvation when money was flooding into the country like crazy in Haiti. Like that's an unacceptable reality.
Yeah.
Okay. And so many people are so willing to accept the unacceptable. And we in this industry don't have to. We can change it. We have the freedom, we have the abilities to make these massive world-shattering changes. And that's why I'm so happy and so proud to be here doing what we do where we are right now.
We're excited for you to be there, pushing the envelope as well.
Yeah.
It's amazing, man. Well, look, it's been great talking with you, and we'd love for our listeners to follow along and ensure that they're tracking the progress as well. Where should they go to follow Gala, yourself, and all these amazing happenings?
So the first thing that I would recommend is definitely get involved in our Discord. Join our Discord at galagames.chat. Okay, it is the best Discord ever. If I am wrong, come and tell me. You can yell at me. I'm in one of the green names in the top right corner. You can also follow us on social media. We're on basically every platform at Go Gala Games. Okay, and you can follow me personally, primarily on Twitter at BitbenderBrink.
There it is. Well, thanks so much, man, for spending this time with us today. We really appreciate it.
All right. Pleasure. It's been wonderful.